Welcome to She Sells Radio and welcome to day 35 of the She Sells Finish Strong Challenge. If you're joining me on video, coming to you with my unicorn mug this morning, courtesy of my client Leah. Shout out to her for giving me this gift that I love drinking out of almost every single day. So, oh my goodness, where are we going today? Isn't that a good way to start? Here's where we're going today. We're going to talk about how to up-level your circle and why that matters in terms of achieving your goal. Okay. So I literally, as I was about to record this, was like, have I already used this example on the podcast this week? I tell you what, I don't know if it's like, as I'm recording, it's end of year or pregnancy brain or doing a daily show, you just forget what you talked about sometimes the day before. So I may have already used this example. I don't know that I have. Either way, we're going to roll with it. So I was co-hosting a webinar this week with a former client of mine, a friend of mine, Ian Koniak, and we had a question come in from one of the audience members, and this particular guy had been given what he felt like was a really big sales target for the next, I think, quarter. And he was kind of freaking out, like, what am I going to do? I have no idea how I'm going to hit this. He was starting to doubt himself and was just looking for some coaching and some feedback around it. And here's the thing, whatever your goal is, if you're surrounded by people who either haven't achieved something like that, or who also think it's a big goal or a big, let's say that your goal has something to do with revenue or income, like they think that's also a big amount, you're way less likely to accomplish it. You're way less likely to accomplish it because it's all perspective. It's all perspective. So the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. He talks about, we all have this, essentially this internal thermostat, kind of our set point. It's very similar to how we generally have a weight that our body feels comfortable at. Well, we also have a financial amount that we're conditioned to, usually based on how we're brought up. So if you're looking for a quantum leap financially, it's not going to work for you to keep your thermostat set at the same amount. If you want to go from let's say you want to go from $5,000 to $10,000 a month, right? Well, if you surround yourself by people who are also making $5,000 a month or who think that $10,000 a month is a lot, you're not doing anything to shift the thermostat. You're going to continue. It's like you're continuing to normalize the $5,000 a month mark. But if you suddenly got in a room or in a community or were surrounded by people who were going for $10,000 a month and who were doing it and who didn't think it was a big amount, you would start to shift your perspective on it. And your thermostat, that internal thermostat, would start to actually raise because of who you were around. So it's the same, you hear this all the time, like we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. It's so true. And it's also true financially and in terms of what type of goal you're going to achieve. So if you have a goal of, like for me, I'll just share like in my life, like if you know my story, at least on the financial front, I was like a 10,000 a month thermostat for years, for about a decade. That was what was normalized. That was what was naturalized. And it didn't really matter like what I did or didn't do in a month. That was pretty much what I would bring in. Some months would be a little lower, some months would be a little higher, but I would never go too low or too high off that amount because that was my thermostat. And when I decided I wanted more, I knew I had to shift my consciousness. And so I decided to get in community with people where $100,000 months or more were normal or were naturalized. And that helped all of a sudden. And it wasn't immediate. It took a bit of like saturating my consciousness with that. But as it started to feel more normal, then it manifested in my life. Like my thermostat actually raised to believe that it was possible for me as well. And that's when it happened. And now my thermostat is like, it feels strange and it feels off to not bring that in. So that's and as I continue to grow my goals, like I'm continuing to surround myself with people where $100,000 a month feels small, right? So it's that type of consciousness that will help raise your thermostat. And so the whole point of this is up-leveling your circle is a key to your success and achieving your goal. And so what I want you to do for what I'm going to invite you to do, you can do whatever you want. What I'm going to invite you to do for today's challenge is to, whether you do this with people in real life or online, I want you to choose 3 people who have results in the area you want and get in their energy, whether that's subscribing to their podcast, hiring them as a mentor, reading their book, get in their energy. It's not about them telling you what to do. It's about you starting to notice, how do they think? Because that's the thing that's going to shift and up-level your own thinking around your goal. And that's what, to kind of take it full circle. That's what I shared with the guy on the call who had asked about, like, how do I approach this big goal that's making me feel nervous and uncomfortable? And it, to me, there's a couple of things I shared, but one of the most important was, it's all perspective. So that number may feel big to you now, but would that feel big to, and I use the examples of like Ian or me who were leading the call, like, would that be big to us? Or would that be big to Warren Buffett? Or would that be big to Oprah? Or pick your person, right? But it's all relative. It's all, what feels big to you is very small to somebody else. And what feels very small to you may be very big to somebody else. So it's all relative, but it's critical that you keep shifting and elevating your level of consciousness. And you do that by saturating your mind with thinking patterns and the energy of people who have actually accomplished what you want to accomplish. So I'm not saying you have to go like disown your friend circle, but I am saying that if you have a desire for more, and I'm assuming that's part of why you're listening to this show, that it is time to really evaluate and look at, who am I surrounding myself by? What is their level of consciousness in the areas that are important to me? And do I need to make some adjustments to up-level my circle and the people I'm surrounded by? That's your challenge today for day 35. So if you haven't registered for the challenge, you can get registered completely for free, ElyseArcher.com/challenge. And to be entered to win our prize drawings, all you're going to do is do the challenge for today. So go find those 3 people. You've got your workbook that comes along with the challenge. So journal on it. Who are the 3 people that I'm going to get in the energy of and either hire as mentors, listen to the podcasts, read their books, you just get in their space, go to an event. And then from there, if you want to be entered to win, share on social that you completed today's challenge. So you're going to use the graphic that comes along with this week's challenge that came in the email when you registered. And you will check off that you completed today's challenge, tag me, I'm at Elyse Archer. And then you'll use the hashtag #SheSellsChallenge. And super quick update on our Sedona retreat. As of recording today, we've got only 3 rooms left in the room block. So if you want to come get in the room, get in the energy of women going for amazing, really exciting quantum leaps for themselves in 2023, you can go to ElyseArcher.com/Sedona and grab your ticket, get yourself registered. There is still time and it's going to be exceptional. So lots and lots of love. So glad to have you listening, and